Beautiful floors and so much more, the team at Professional Floor Covering can't wait to connect with our friends through today's community comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And it is time for community comment on 95.3 WBEV. It is presented by Professional Floor Covering and Abbey Design Center at 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam. It is locally owned. Randy and his team are here to help you design the perfect space with over 1,000 samples of carpet, LVP, hardwood, tile, area rugs, and window finishings. It's so much more than floors. It's a wide selection of kitchen and bathroom countertops, cabinets, tile, shower inserts, and more. You can choose from many different types, styles, and brands of flooring. There is carpet, hardwood, laminate, LVP, tile, stone, area rugs. As we mentioned there, Randy and his team will come out to measure, provide suggestions on the type of flooring at price points to meet your budget. And now to get rolling here on today's community comment, here is Terry Bell.
Jake Hayes, this is Community Comment for a Friday, and we are joined by Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson of the Beaver Dam Police Department, talking about all the things going on at the department in the recent past and the upcoming future. Jeremiah, thanks for being with us today.
Absolutely. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Excellent.
Let's start off with a need that your department has, and that's for auxiliary officers.
That's correct. Yeah, we are looking to hire a couple of auxiliary police officers to assist us in supplementing our current staff. We currently have 5. And with the amount of events that we have coming up here in the next year, we could probably use about 7. So we're looking to hire approximately that, but I mean, we'll take more if we have good candidates. I bet you the people want to know what an auxiliary police officer is, what they do.
Next question.
I bet, yes.
Great
exactly.
minds.
So, an auxiliary police officer, at least in the city of Beaver Dam, they take a peripheral role with us. So they are in charge of things like extra patrol at the parks. They assist with parades and they do traffic control. We call them in if there's a major accident and we need to divert traffic off of a road while we do an investigation. They help us do a perimeter for certain scenes. They do after-school patrol, if I didn't mention that. They hang out by the library. When the middle school lets out, they assist crossing guards. And they observe and report. If there's a crime going on, they can intervene if it's something that's not violent. If not, they get on the radio and they let us know what's going on, and we assist them with that, and they assist us. Essentially, they are kind of they are like our backups, if you will, and they help out in roles that if the city is busy, they help us by doing basic police tasks. One of the benefits of being a police officer or auxiliary police officer is it's part-time. It's a very flexible schedule. We meet every month, and you sign up for the events that you want to participate in. We highly encourage, participation as much as possible. But it's a paid position. It's not volunteer. I believe the wage is $17.91 an hour, and you get that after you have 50 hours in cumulatively. You max out at that range. We're looking for people who've got a little bit of free time on their hands and enjoy working at different events. We were talking about the Arts and Peony Festival off the air before we started. So we will have our auxiliary officers at the festival to supplement our normal uniformed patrol officers just for safety and security. So, excuse me, I got a bit of a frog in my throat today.
That's all right.
So a perfect example, Lake Days, Best Dam Fest, they've been always a part of that with us. They've come across situations where an ambulance is needed. They're able to give first aid. They get to little nooks and crannies that if there's bad things happening behind the scenes, they can report that to us. They keep people on the main roads. They keep people safe. They look out for traffic obstructions or certain instances where something dangerous has happened, they bring it to our attention or they handle it themselves. So we're looking for people that are capable of doing that kind of stuff and have a good disposition. I know the chief of police, he looks for one thing when he hires people, and he always says, well, I take that back. He says it in a way. He goes, we hire and we're looking for 3 things. He goes, character, character, character. So if you got a good character, if you can talk with people, if you've got public safety on the mind, if you are a person that can go out there and work with the public and do it with a smile on your face and step up. And if there's an emergency situation, go to the right thing or do the right thing. That's huge. And that's what we're looking for in an auxiliary police officer.
Is there any kind of training that you have to go through, even though it is a part-time job?
You bet. So, yeah, that is an excellent question. I've actually fielded that question from a couple interested parties. So there's no requirement prior to getting hired. You don't have to go to the police academy. You don't have to be a security guard. You don't have to have prior law enforcement experience. So we'll hire you based on your character, if you will. And from there, if you can do the job, we will train you in-house at the Beaver Dam Police Department. So there is some training. You get a uniform, you get a duty belt. We'll train you in defensive and arrest tactics, or what we call that in the state of Wisconsin Actual Police Academy. It's called DAT, abbreviation. So you get some basic defense training, just in case things were to go down the wrong path. You do carry pepper spray, so you will be trained in the use of that. You will be operating squad cars that are fully marked, and you'll get training on how to operate that equipment and how to defensively drive when the need be, how to do traffic control, how to set up your squad, turn on your lights, making sure that you're in a good position, that you're being safe, and you can also effectively keep that traffic away from the scene. You'll receive training and all that stuff, and it's continual training. It's renewed on a regular basis, and yeah.
Because I imagine, even though it's an auxiliary role, a backup role, a person could find themselves in a dicey situation.
It's possible, yes. And we tend not to assign our auxiliary officers in situations that we know are a dicey situation. But anytime you're out on the road doing traffic, if you have someone who's not paying attention, it can happen. So that's why we're looking for people that, part of their character is they have a kind of a awareness. They got their wits around them, that they can pick up on a car going a little too fast, or if something doesn't seem right, or someone is acting strange. They can get on the radio and ask for another officer. They can avoid that situation and appropriately react to it.
Are auxiliary officers pulling people over? Are they issuing citations?
They are not. They are not. But if they see a city ordinance being broken, they can intervene and ask that person for voluntary compliance. And if they don't voluntarily comply, that's when a uniformed officer would show up, and our auxiliary police officers would be witnesses to it. So they would assist us in writing that report and enforcing a citation or an ordinance, depending on where it would go after that.
I'm guessing that maybe you have had some people in the past who have done this for supplemental income because they have a high sense of public service, but maybe they find that they are interested in a full-time career after that. Does
Sure.
that happen? Do people
Sure.
transition?
Absolutely. I can think of one officer. We almost hired him at Beaver Dam. However, the Madison Police Department snuck him away from us. But yeah, he was interested in getting into law enforcement. He was putting himself through the academy several years ago. And while he was doing that, he was an auxiliary officer for us. So he was coming in on nights and weekends, working his hours and doing the festivals and extra park patrol, being out there, being in the public, and all while he was in the academy. And then when it came time to hire him as an officer, Madison beat us to the punch. So, yeah, but yeah, it has happened in the past. It's a great job for retirees. It's a great job for people that are looking to get into law enforcement, so they kind of get a feel for how a police department runs. They interact with the officers. They're part of the team, if you will. So they play that certain role. We supplement it. They supplement us, and it's a good teamwork thing. And they get a feel for that, of how that all works.
Very good. How would people get in touch if they are interested?
Excellent. So we will have applications out on the city website. They're working on putting that out right now as we speak. I will have physical applications down at the Beaver Dam Police Department. If you have any questions, you can give me a call or send me an email. My phone number is area code 920-887-4613. Once again, that's 887-4613. And when it asks for the extension, my extension is 507. If you end up speaking with somebody else, just ask to speak with Lieutenant Johnson, and they will forward you to me. If you want to send me an email with any questions, I'm available at jjohnson@bdpd.org. That's JJOHNSON bdpd.org. That's as in Beaver Dam Police Department.org.
So much more to talk about. We're going to take a quick break here, then be back with Jeremiah Johnson of the Beaver Dam Police Department. Stay right here.
Inside of your home looking great. Professional Floor Covering welcomes you to the next segment of Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
More Community Comment is here now on 95.3 WBEV. Here's Terry Bell.
Thank you very much, Jake Hayes. We're talking with Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson of the Beaver Dam Police Department on this edition of Community Comment. And Jeremiah, there was a very special event very recently that you were a part of.
Absolutely. So just last night, we completed our Citizens Police Academy. We do this program every year, and we have our 14 weeks of classes. That last class there is the graduation banquet for the Citizens Police Academy. So we had a dozen citizens go through this year, attend all the classes, learn all about what we do at the Beaver Dam Police Department and the Fire Department as well. And at the end of that course of classes, we have a little celebration at our banquet, which we had last night, and it went off very well. I was kind of sad to see all 12 of our citizens move on. I'm not going to be seeing them every week like I got used to over the last 3 months, and it was fantastic. So they all had a good time. One of the things that I enjoy about the Citizens Police Academy is we put that on so the citizens get to know us and understand what the police department does in the community. They understand that we hope that we're sending the message that we're all human, and that we are here to keep people safe, and we are here to keep the community, a nice place to live. It's not necessarily what you see or hear about maybe on social media or some of the, sometimes bad things happen, and they understand, like I said, we're all human. So we make those relationships kind of a priority with the community policing initiatives that we have at the Beaver Dam Police Department. And the Citizens Police Academy is probably, I would say, like the premier program that promotes the community policing, because we literally are inviting citizens in to the police department. We are teaching them the same things that we learn at the academy, and we tell them why we do the things we do, and that's huge. Understanding why an officer does something. Why is it so important to enforce this law versus another one? Or what is the danger? Why do officers draw their gun in certain situations? And we talk about that, and they understand, and we put them in scenarios where, granted, it's a very safe scenario in a controlled environment, but they might feel a little bit of adrenaline. They might understand what it's like to be in those officers' shoes, and that's huge for us. That's huge. And we also take their feedback as well based on their questions and what they tell us, and we get to learn what's important in our community, because these are citizens that are right here from Beaver Dam and surrounding areas, that live their lives, and they've got concerns, and we get to know them, and that's huge. So our graduation banquet, like I said, went off great. They had a good time. We had our video where we take all of our photographs that we take at all the different classes and put it together. And they come with a ride along with us, so they got to see pictures from there as well. And it's a very cool thing. It's a very cool thing. So
now the program is called Citizens Police Academy, but it doesn't sound like these are people who are training to do police work. Exactly. This sounds like more of a public outreach and education effort?
That is exactly correct. Yes. So at no point in time is it designed to train anyone in performing law enforcement duties. Mm-hmm. So, and I think we even say that like on the application, it says right on there. So it says academy. It's kind of a title that attracts people, but it is from the, literal sense of the word. It's about learning. So it's the academics of understanding what the police department does. So that's the actual academy, is we're trying to teach them what we do, how we do it, make them a part of it, make them understand, and also get that feedback as well. So it's education. It's education.
What kind of people are interested in taking this kind of thing? So, like who are you talking to? Who is getting the benefit of this education?
Gotcha. Okay, so any citizen in the city of Beaver Dam that lives here, owns property here, or works here, they get priority, and then surrounding areas as well too. If we have enough application spots open, we'll accept those applications as well. But it's pretty much any citizen. We tend to take adults, but we've taken some high schoolers that were 17 turning 18. So it's people who are interested in law enforcement. It's people who are interested in what's going on in the community. People who are paying attention to the news and what's going on worldwide with law enforcement. Anybody who wants to know what we do as police officers can apply, and we'll get you in at some point. So we take about a dozen people every year.
Are people surprised? I mean, you mentioned, what we hear in the news, and a lot of what we hear in the news sometimes is when an officer maybe makes a regrettable choice in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
And, and people maybe make some assumptions.
Sure.
That maybe aren't very accurate.
Correct. So I get a lot of feedback when we talk about that kind of stuff in the academy. I get a lot of feedback when they go into a scenario. And like I said, these are in controlled environments, but the adrenaline is still there. We have a scenario that I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's going to join, but we have a scenario where we have a suspect pull a knife on an officer and charge them. What do you do? And how you act, and understanding that, there will be Monday morning quarterbacking for that decision of how you react. Do you get hurt? Does the other person get hurt? Do you get away? And, there's so many ways that it can go. And taking those scenarios and watching our 12 citizens go through it, and then talking with each one about, like, what did you do? What did you do? And comparing notes on that, it gives a better understanding of how complicated and how dangerous and how difficult it is sometimes to make a split-second decision. That's how we are as humans, and police officers are human.
Do you find over the course of the 14 weeks, does anybody come to you at the end and say, wow, I learned a lot, I had no idea,
Yes.
I had all these assumptions that have just been blown out of the water?
Yes. So sometimes that happens. Other times it's a verification of what they thought originally, and that's okay. But it's, we have a lot of feedback. I very rarely get negative feedback from any of the citizens that come and do it. They all seem to enjoy. They all seem to have learned. I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, but that's awesome. That's and they have fun too. There's another thing too, is we try to make our Citizens Police Academy as interactive as possible. They're not just sitting down, watching a PowerPoint, falling asleep as we go on and on about the drug task force or something like that. They are getting up, they are getting hands-on, they get to interact, they get to watch videos, they get to use some of our police equipment in controlled environments, and it's very nice. You get to drive a squad car. You get to go on a ride along up at the training range that we have here in the city. We'll have firearms instructors one-on-one with them, and they can operate firearms and understand how to operate those. We put them through training scenarios. They get to use our simunition, which is a non-lethal training soap pellet rounds that I was talking about with use of force. They interact with our defensive and arrest tactics teachers. You name it. So they get to do a little bit, get a little taste about pretty much everything we do.
We have just a few seconds.
Sure.
How do people get involved in the next opportunity, and
Excellent.
when is that?
Yes, good question. So we have our application online at the City of Beaver Dam Police Department webpage. I believe there's an old post on Facebook. You can scroll back up for it, or you can come down to Beaver Dam Police Department and get an application from us. We accept applications up until February 15th, and we're taking applications for next year right now. So if you're interested, get your application in. I'll hold on to it, and we'll get back to you in March.
We're talking to Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson of the Beaver Dam Police Department on Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
beautiful floors, and so much more, the team at Professional Floor Covering can't wait to connect with our friends through today's community comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Back with more community comment here on 95.3 WBEV. And we are brought to you in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings here with community comment. McKinstry'sHomeFurnishings.com is in downtown Beaver Dam on Front Street under the red awning, celebrating their 167th year anniversary. McKinstry's Home Furnishings stocks a large selection of picture frame moldings and conservation mattings and glass. This ensures prompt and proper professional framing of your needlework, family photos, wedding pictures, oil paintings, wildlife prints, and award certificates. They've even framed a guitar. Best of all, you will be amazed at the low everyday prices. Let McKinstry's sales designers help you select just the right frame and matting to enhance the beauty of your artwork as well as your home. Take your frameable pieces to McKinstry's Home Furnishings. You will be very happy you did. Now, with more community comment, here's Terry Bell.
Thank you so much, Jake. We're talking to Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson of the Beaver Dam Police Department about all kinds of interesting things going on and some important things to know. And one important thing to know, perhaps, is, a lot of us have pets, and the weather's warming up, and, maybe the pets are spending more time out in the yard, and maybe occasionally, accidentally or otherwise, those pets get out, and that's occasionally where the police have to step in.
Exactly, yeah. So every time it gets warm outside, and even in the winter, we have reports of dogs getting loose and roaming the neighborhood. Some of the dogs keep to their own selves, and they just go out and have fun and do what dogs do. Other times it becomes a problem when they interact with people that they don't know, especially if they're kind of an aggressive animal, or they come across another dog and they're territorial, and then that's when we have to come in, and that's when the bad news happens. That's when people get bit. That's when there's trips to the emergency room and stitches and quarantines and rabies vaccinations, and it's a whole big mess. So we put some laws on the books here in the state of Wisconsin at the city of Beaver Dam to keep everybody safe and healthy, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in this segment is the animal laws and why they're there and how important it is to follow them here. So,
what parts of the animal ordinance are kind of come up a lot, people should know about,
Sure.
maybe people aren't aware of that, have good intentions?
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. So the number one thing is, as far as a safety aspect that we've seen a lot, and we do write a lot of citations for this, especially after the warnings, is if you have a dog at large, or animal at large for that matter, but it's mostly dogs that we have issues with. If the dog continually gets out and it's causing trouble in the community, you're much more likely to receive a citation, and the ordinance says no dogs to run at large or no animals to run at large. So if you don't have your animal on a leash while you're taking it for a walk, you have to maintain control of it. If it doesn't, you have to be in physical control of that animal. So we tend to find that a lot of dog bites where they're either biting another animal or biting a human are in situations where the owner has no control of the animal. So when that happens, we tend to write citations for that ordinance violation. So that's the huge one. That's the one I want to hit, is when you are walking away from your residence for the evening, make sure your gate is closed on your fence. Make sure your dog is inside. When you are taking it for a walk, it has to be on a leash. You have to be in physical control of it. If you know that your dog tends to run out when you open a door, be careful. Look outside your front, make sure there's nobody walking their dog or just walking by, especially if your dog tends to be territorial and aggressive. So that's one of those things where when we get called and the ambulance gets called and people have, marks on them and they have to go to the hospital for stitches, that's a sad story. That means something went wrong, and that's why we have that law, and that's why we want to keep people safe. You shouldn't have to be worrying about walking down the street and having a dog come out and bite you, or sometimes they're just coming up to say hi, which happens. And most dogs are good dogs and they don't bite, but maybe that's something that just the nature of the animal, if you will. You got to be careful. So.
Absolutely. I was curious to know, this seems to be more so than ever before, dogs are welcome out in public. There
Sure.
are establishments and events that encourage people to bring their
Correct.
pets, and people have an expectation now that they didn't used to, that they ought to bring their pets to a lot of places where
Right.
they didn't before. Is this creating more challenges? Do people have, what are their responsibilities when they are out in public like that?
Sure, absolutely. So, as far as the law is concerned, if you have that animal in physical control on a leash, you're good to go. You could present yourself some civil liability, and I'm not a lawyer, just a little asterisk on that. But if your animal, even if it's on a leash, ends up biting someone, you're going to be liable for it. So be careful with that kind of stuff. So, in general, know your animals, know how they interact with other people, especially in large crowds, and especially with other animals, because if you got one person with a dog on a leash, you have another person with a dog on a leash, and who knows how that goes. Sometimes they're very friendly with each other, they get a little sniff, and everything's fine. Other times it's, hey, leave me alone, I'm by my owner, and don't come near me. And we get growling, we get showing of teeth, and if you start seeing those behaviors in your animal, you should really bring them away from that situation. So it's up to the owner what they want to do there, but yeah, like I said, as far as the law is concerned, if you have them on a leash, that's the requirement there. So, and if the owner, the property owner says no dogs allowed, there's no dogs allowed, et cetera. So they're in control of that kind of stuff. So
I don't mean to put you on the spot,
Sure.
but what are some of the, what's the liability? What are some of the citations
sure.
for violations?
Sure, absolutely. And I was going to hit on just one other thing too, along with this. So the number one is the dogs, no animals to run out large. So that's what you get if you have no animal on, or I'm sorry, no leash on an animal, and something happens. We come across a stray, and you're the owner, and it's a continual problem, or it ends up biting someone. You could get a citation for that. If you fail to license your animal, that could be another citation as well. So, and last but not least is, I'm sorry, where was I going with this? Yeah, I'm sorry, the licensing. So in the city, we require people to have their license on their animal, and it helps with the rabies vaccination. So if you have your rabies vaccination, which you should on all your animals, okay, go up to City Hall. It's $7 per animal. If it's spayed or neutered, it's $7. If it is not spayed or neutered, it's $19. And then if you have more than 4 animals at your house, you have to go what is called a pet fancier license fee. You end up paying $20. The police department comes over and inspects the house to make sure that it's safe, it's clean, it's not going to be interacting with too many other animals. And it's not like a zoo inside the house, if you will. And then you end up getting approved by the police department just to make sure that there's not going to be any issues with that amount of animals in a smaller space. And then you license your pets after that. So part of that process is having that rabies vaccination, and that's a huge safety thing as well, too. Rabies, as you know, bad disease. It's not good to get that. It's kind of, once it develops in the human, it's very rare that you survive. I think the only person who ever did is from the city of Fond du Lac recently. He got bit by a bat, and she survived rabies, but that's very rare. So to prevent that spread of disease, the city requires that rabies vaccination. So that's another thing that you can get in trouble for. If you're not getting your rabies vaccination, if you're not getting licensed, you can receive a citation for it. If your animal does bite someone and it doesn't have the rabies vaccination, has to be placed in a quarantine at your vet. That costs you more money. We enforce that. We make sure that happens. It's a state law. If it does have the rabies vaccination and bite someone, it can be quarantined at home. And you go check in with your vet 3 times within 10 days. It's a little bit cheaper for you, and it's better. You don't get your animal taken away from you. So highly encourage, get that rabies vaccination, get them in, get them licensed, and then that way we know. And that's the other thing too. If your pet wanders away and it's wearing its license tag, we can get them back home, and you're not going to receive a citation every time your dog would happen to wander away. We're all human, we know. Officers have that discretion on how they want to enforce that. We tend to write tickets for people who have continual problems with dogs running away and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
the habitual offenders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another thing that comes up, it's summertime and fireworks. People
Yes.
love fireworks, and
Yes,
they love
they do.
to set them off. But like a lot of rights, it's fine to swing your arms around until you hit somebody else's nose.
Exactly.
And that's where the police come in.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the segment. I don't know if we have one before July 4th this year, but people are going to be buying fireworks now. So in general, in the city of Beaver Dam, just so everyone knows, if a firework goes up off the ground or it blows up and explodes, as the adage we use, if it goes up or blows up, it's illegal. So in general, in the city, if you see small displays for snakes and sparklers and small little sparks that emit from the ground, you're okay. That's going to be fine. You go up to a store like Walmart and you're buying them from inside the store, those are going to be legal fireworks that you can purchase and have fun with. We do get into issues where people go outside of the community and they buy large shells or other very nice displays. So part of going there at particular retailers and buying these fireworks is that you have to purchase a permit. And that permit, if you read it, and they make everybody buy it every year, and they have to pay a fee for it, it says a date and time and a place to where these fireworks can be shot off. The reason being is the state regulates it, and they make sure it's safe. There's not trees. There's a fire department on scene. If something starts on fire, it's not going to burn down a whole city, that sort of thing. Okay? What people do is they leave with their fireworks and they bring them back to the city of Beaver Dam and launch them off in their backyard, which they no longer have a valid permit for. So that's where we step in, and that's when we have neighbors calling about ashes falling down on their roof or in their trees, could start a fire, or the noise is so loud that it's disturbing the peace in the community. That's when we have to step in as police officers and investigate those sorts of things. So please, when you're buying your fireworks, make sure if you have to buy a permit, look at that permit. If it doesn't cover the city of Beaver Dam, which it won't because we don't have any permits for it, don't purchase those fireworks and bring them back to the city and blow them up. That's not good. Don't light them off. So do it within the law. So.
I'm willing to bet, though, that some people will set off their fireworks
Correct.
in the city, and then what happens when that happens?
Yeah, well, you could receive a citation. Each officer has their discretion that they can use at all times. So, I mean, we don't want to be, ruin anybody's fun on the 4th of July. However, when it comes to a safety issue or disturbing the peace and the neighbors don't like it and they're complaining, officers tend to issue those citations a little bit more often for illegal fireworks. So, in the city, it's illegal to not only just shoot them off, it's illegal to possess them as well without that permit. So,
and how high do those citations go?
That's a good question. I would have to double check.
We'll consult during the break.
Yes, I would have to type that one in,
Okay.
but I want to say they're starting at $124, and they might go up a little bit more after
Okay,
that.
we'll double check.
Yep.
Well, we go away for a commercial break. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV. Power.
Hear what's going on in your community. Stay tuned to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge, presented by Professional Floor Covering.
And with the last segment here of Community Comment for today, here's Terry Bell.
Thank you, Jake. We're talking to Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson of the Beaver Dam Police Department about a whole lot of things. We've been talking about pet licenses and fireworks just for a minute. I don't know. We've been consulting to see.
And I don't have
the
the official answer yet. It's been a while since I wrote a fireworks ticket. It tends to be a 4th of July problem.
The important thing, though, is, be smart about it.
Correct.
Don't disturb your neighbors and don't put anybody in any kind of jeopardy or danger.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. That is the most important thing. And that's why we have the fireworks laws. It's not necessarily we're trying to, our city councilmen and people that pass these ordinances, they're not trying to say people can't have fun on 4th of July. They are saying that we need to be safe. And those fireworks tend to cause trouble. You can hurt yourself too. There's horror stories. Literally, I remember out in the county, not last year, but the year before last, there was a gentleman may have had something to drink, and he had a firework in his hand, which he lit, and he was going to throw it. Well, he misjudged the time that it took for that firework to go off, and now he's missing some fingers. So that's not good.
Nobody wants that.
It happens far too often. So that's why we got those laws.
Yeah, and also we want to make sure that people understand if they've just adopted a new pet, congratulations, and there are some steps to take.
Exactly. Yes. So please go down to City Hall within those first 30 days. You got a 30-day grace period. Bring your rabies vaccination down to City Hall, and if your pet's spayed or neutered, go see the finance department. It's $7. If it's not spayed or neutered, $19. So just a little plug for the Humane Society here of Dodge County is when you adopt from them, they're going to have those rabies vaccinations already done. They'll give you the piece of paperwork, and all you got to do is just go down to City Hall. It's super easy, and just pay that $7. They give you a little tag, and you're all set to go for 1 year.
They take care of the rabies shots,
Yes.
and that's pets from the Humane Society are typically spayed and neutered.
Yes.
Before they're adopted, so they take care of all these important things. They're going to keep you out of trouble.
Exactly.
Later.
Yep. It helps promote safe and healthy pets.
Absolutely. We're all for that. Okay.
Same here.
There are a lot of events coming up. Frankly, it takes donations sometimes to help, keep our public safety efforts going smoothly. And there are some opportunities coming up for people to be a part of that and have some fun too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So summer, we've got a lot of charity stuff going on. 2 organizations, specifically the City of Beaver Dam Police Charities, as well as the Shop with Cops organization, which is a Dodge County law enforcement organization. Specifically, we've got Cops and Bobbers coming up on Wednesday, which is run through Shop with Cops. We take about a dozen kids every year. We get them out on Fox Lake. We take them fishing. We provide them with a tackle box, a fishing pole, all the instructions on how to actually fish and catch something, as well as we give them a nice meal, and it's a good law enforcement positive interaction with the youth. So what the youth get out of it is that fishing pole and that experience and a kind of a cool time with the cop. What we get out of it is a good positive law enforcement interaction with the youth out in the community, which we feel is important because we want kids to understand that we are human, that we are part of the community, we're here to keep them safe, and sometimes there's a little bit of fear with law enforcement. You see the lights and sirens, or you see a cop out there in uniform, and sometimes this is a little intimidating, and we want to be able to, although it is intimidating, it's just a fact, we want kids to be comfortable talking with us. We want kids to be able to stand up and speak out if something wrong is going on or if they need help, and we also want them to understand that we are part of that community that keeps them safe and keeps them kind of carefree of, bad things happening in their life and community. So that's why we love that positive interaction law enforcement experience.
Because especially when it comes to kids, you're there to help. You're not there to punish.
Right, exactly. And like I said, sometimes, a bad experience, or they see a police officer have to arrest someone, or they see it on TV, and it's kind of a scary thing, I hate to say it, and sometimes I see it out in the community where a parent will go, see that guy right there, he's going to take you to jail, and the parents are trying to be like, you better behave or he's going to take you to jail. And sometimes it's more of like, all right, that's my opportunity to go over there. Hey buddy, how you doing? What's your name? like, yeah, you better listen to mom and dad. They're right, but I'm only going to take you to jail if something really bad happens, and if you're not listening to mom and dad. But otherwise, we're pretty cool. If you ever need help, that's what we're here for. And that's my opportunity to like get in there. And I just it always like bothers me when kids are afraid of cops or even firemen for that matter. It's like we understand. Like when you're older and you mess up, your lawyer is going to tell you don't talk with the police. But for something like that, if you're not really in trouble, we want to help. So here we are.
Sure thing. So we've got Shop with Cops.
Yes.
What else is coming up?
Yep. So that was Cops and Bobbers, and then we have another
Cops
Shop
and
with Cops.
Bobbers.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes.
okay.
Cops and Bobbers is run by Shop with Cops. It's probably the same thing. But then we do have another Shop with Cops coming up. It's called Summer Edition. We take several dozen teenagers, and we take their school supply list for the year, and we go up to Walmart and we purchase all those school supplies for them. And once again, another positive law enforcement experience. They get their backpacks, their calculators, their notebooks, pens and pencils, whatever they need that's on their list, and we send them along with it, plus some snacks too. Why not?
And that's so much fun for a kid. Frankly, you wouldn't think that pencils and tablets and stuff would be that fun, but one of my memories of childhood is how much fun I had picking out stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And organizing the folders and or get the big box of crayons,
And the folders and tablets had Packers all over them. I was all about it.
Heck yes. So it is fun. And there's that little bit of joy. And it's so sad because like when we're adults, some of that joy kind of goes away a little bit. It's like if you're buying stuff for college, like I remember sitting there thinking like, whew, this stuff is adding up. This is expensive. And then you go to the bookstore.
My gosh.
And buying those college books. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool to see the joy in the kids' eyes when, they get a new backpack or something like that. So we like that too. It's nice.
Okay.
So that's the second event. And then the golf outing was the other thing that we were going to,
Yeah.
So that one is run by Beaver Dam Police Charities, and the proceeds are going to that organization as well as our canine fund this year. So we have a golf outing coming up on Saturday, June 21st. It starts at 8:30 a.m. I'm unsure if we need more golfers, but if you are interested in golfing for that charity event and you have a foursome, we will get you in contact. Give us a call at the Beaver Dam Police Department. We'll get you involved with our charities people and get you set up if you want to come out golfing. If you want to help participate with the event, if you want to donate, or if you're a business that wants to sponsor a hole or other part of that golfing event, just let us know and we'll get you hooked up with the right people to do that. So it's kind of cool. The Beaver Dam Police Charities, we go out and if we see people in need, which we often do in law enforcement, we stumble across issues where someone needs a car seat for their car and they got a kid and they don't have a car seat. We had a situation where there was a lady who fell victim to being scammed. And she was stuck without a place to stay for several days because of that scamming. We were able to get her a couple of gift cards to get her back on her feet, and so she had enough funds to go and get a hotel room for a couple of days. Those are things where people need it, and they're victims of a crime, or they're good people that have bad stuff happen to them, or if it's a family that is down on their luck, we'll get Christmas gifts. We do a Christmas banquet every year for the community and all sorts of other events, toy giveaways and stuff. So it's a cool organization.
The hour flew right by. Lieutenant Jeremiah
sure did.
Johnson of the Beaver Dam Police Department. Thanks for spending the last hour with us. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.